Welcome to Forging Yourself Forward, formerly Forging the Tip of the Spear. I'm your host, Mike. I changed the name of this channel for a couple of reasons and kind of the direction in which I want to go with it. And I want to loop you in on it as well as kind of give you an idea of where things are going to go in the future. So I changed the name of this channel from Forging the Tip of the Spear, which was the purpose of kind of showing you a journey of self-development, how you can become the most of yourself and forge yourself into the best, sharpest version of yourself. I changed it into Forging Yourself Forward because during the course of the last year or so, I've started to realize that it's not necessarily a matter of forging yourself into the peak. It's forging yourself forward. Always moving forward for yourself, meaning you're the one who's going to forge the best version of you. It's not just trying to get to a singular point, but a lifetime of trying to improve yourself or become the best version of yourself, whatever that might be. The main areas that I want to focus on are mental strength, physical strength, emotional strength, and overall being a better person for yourself, your family, and your community. There's a couple of different ways that I want to do that. As you've seen, if you have seen any of my short videos, every day I've actually been going for afternoon walks. And I advocate that each and every person kind of tries to get out and get moving a little bit. Outside, in fresh air, even if it's raining, even if it's cold, just so that you change it up, so you give yourself a little bit of movement forward. The other thing is, if we've learned anything from COVID in 2020, 2021, 2022, and even now today in 2023, we collectively need to get ourselves in better health, physical, mental, spiritual, however you want to see it. But overall, I think everybody could have better health. If you think about it this way, for instance, I'll give you my story. I gained about 20 to 25 pounds from March of 2020 until I would say almost the end of 2022. I ballooned up to about 243 pounds. I was unhappy. I was lethargic. I was barely working out, barely moving. I have a Garmin smartwatch and I was tracking sometimes only 3,000 steps in the entire day. That's terrible, especially for somebody. I'm a husband, I'm a father of 2 young boys, and if I'm not setting an example for them as well as for myself, then really, what am I doing? So I decided to really change my life and bring you guys along for the journey of trying to figure out how I can forge myself into the best version of me, where I advocated doing journaling, having a daily practice of reading, exercising, and in the course of the last few months or so, I actually have started to move myself forward. I've started to forge myself into a better version of me, as I hope one day you'll forge yourself into a better version of you. Now, I've lost approximately 22 pounds. I'm down to about 222, 221, 223, somewhere in that range. And I have about another 30 or so pounds that I want to go, and I will. It's just going to take time. And I'm going to bring you along for that journey, helpful hints that I learn along the way, things that I'm doing that I'm finding beneficial, and things that I'm finding that aren't so beneficial. And, different practices that I'm doing, different ways that maybe I'm working out, how I get myself to walk a little bit more or get some extra steps in. You'd be very surprised. Just getting in an extra mile of walking a day over the course of a week may make a huge difference for you if you do that every day. You'd be surprised how much further you can get in life and reach your goals when you start to actually get movement. Because once you get movement, you're going to get forward momentum, which helps you move forward in a direction that you want to go. Now, the other thing is you have to be aware of where you actually want to go. What do you actually want to do? I would argue that in some ways you actually need to know that before you even begin to start moving, although some people do disagree. I think that you should, at least before you begin moving, take an hour, sit down with yourself and your thoughts, no cell phone, no computer, no distractions, and just say, what would I like to see for myself in a month, in a year, in 6 months, in 5 years? What would be the ultimate goal? Something that I would be really proud of. And once you have that, and it's crystal clear, meaning I want to weigh this on this date, I want to make this amount of money on this date, I want to read this many books per week, per month, per year, whatever it is. Once you have something that's very specific, that's when I think you start moving, because the action is the critical part. Anybody can sit and think, but you have to have the action of actually going forward and doing the thing. Then obviously, diet, mental fortitude, those kinds of things certainly play a big role in how you're going to be successful and what you're going to do. I've advocated before, I know on my podcast as well as I'm going to advocate now, sleep is probably one of the most underrated, underutilized things in life to optimize yourself and make yourself better. If you go to sleep earlier by, say, a half hour to an hour and get an extra half hour to an hour of sleep, you will automatically feel better. I can almost guarantee you that you're not getting 8 hours of sleep. And I've heard people say, no, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, I'm too this. If you're sitting and watching television, if you're mindlessly scrolling on your phone, if you're doing anything that is solely for distraction, whether it's drinking, binge eating, whatever, you have time. Unless you are unbelievably busy with your family, your work, and you are literally just scrounging, more likely than not, you probably can optimize your sleep better. And I guarantee you do that for 5 days, you won't go back, because it's that good. The feeling is that incredible. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is diet. Now, I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian. I am just a guy who's going to give you the advice of what I know is working for me right now and how I've started to move myself in the right direction so I can forge myself forward as I would advocate for you to do. And I know this is kind of extreme, might be something that a lot of people strongly disagree. If you know in your heart of hearts that you have a problem with a certain type of food or a certain category of food that you have a tendency to overeat, for instance, if sweets are your problem, if chips are your problem, where you're going to just devour an entire 4-ounce bag of potato chips in a sitting every time it's in the house, every time you see it, I'm going to give some advice that I know a lot of people won't agree with, but I have found this to work for me incredibly well, and it makes me remember not to eat the things, not even to buy the things, and when you don't even have it around, you suddenly will eventually stop craving it, and that's really when you start to get some momentum and power behind it. And the way that I look at it is, if I have a problematic food, for instance, for me, it's tortilla chips, it's anything crunchy and salty and things like that, like tortilla chips, pretzels, those kinds of, any sort of kettle chips. I love those. Oh my God, I could eat a bag in a sitting, no problem, even if it's a king-size bag or a family bag. I now look at it as if I am allergic to the food. Because in my mind, I would rather not have a single piece of it than try for moderation. For me, moderation on chips will never work, has never worked, and it just leads me down a path of ruin. Now, if you're somebody where you can have one or two and you can stop, God bless you, more power to you. You follow whatever works for you. As somebody who has gone up and down multiple times in their lives, I can tell you right now, that doesn't work for me. Moderation does not work for me in my life. I'm not saying be an all or nothing person, but I am saying being honest with yourself. If you know there's something that you really have a problem with, you really can't control yourself around because you just love it so much, and for whatever reason, perhaps considering that. I don't eat them anymore because simply I just look at it as, nope, can't have it, I'm allergic. Because somebody who's allergic just wouldn't eat the food because they wouldn't want to get sick, have an allergic reaction, be very ill. Now, I understand that can be insulting to some people, and I don't mean it that way. But I need to do whatever I can for my own health to make myself better. There's no reason I should be carrying around an extra 40, 50 pounds. It's not doing anything for me. It's not benefiting my life or my family's life or anyone's life in that matter. And that's a tip that I like to use. So, if you're having struggles with a certain type of food, a certain category of food, perhaps consider my advice. Just try it for a week. Just a week. Every time you think of food, say, no, you know what? I can't have that. It would be a bad reaction to me. You'd be surprised how just that one time saying, no, I'm going to abstain from it this time, may actually benefit you quite a bit in the future. That is kind of the direction that I want to go with this channel, and I'm going to go with this channel. I'm going to continue to do my afternoon walks, and try and give you some motivation to get up and moving. Because the one thing that I can tell you is when you start moving, everything starts to move. If not in the right direction, at least it moves. You're not going to be in the same spot that you were, before. Not yesterday. Remember, you never step in the same river twice. Because you're not the same person and it's not the same river. Life is the exact same way. You're never getting the same day twice. You're not the same person, it's not the same day. So get out there, get moving, and you can forge yourself into something better. You can reach that dream person that you want to be, that you see yourself being. I'm going to continue to talk about these kinds of things throughout the videos as well as my daily shorts. And, I hope you join me on this journey. I'll tell you my ups, my downs, my this and that. Right now I'm just wanting to give you a quick idea of where the channel's going to go, what my goals are with it, and I hope you join me on it. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you there.